and welcome to another lawnfawn video. Today we are introducing our new stamp set, Hey Lady, and its coordinating dies. So let's go ahead and check it out. This stamp set has the most gorgeous large leaf that I love for setting scenes. It has a magnifying glass, and then a bunch of little ladybugs. So we've got one with the wings out and one with the wings closed, and we also have a smaller ladybug and a cute tiny little heart. There are some different styles of trails that you can stamp behind your ladybugs to kind of show their movement on your card. And we have this little phrase, Hey Lady, and that's sized perfectly to work in the speech bubble that's in the A Bug Deal stamp set. So you can see it's the same size as those little phrases. We also have some great sentiments. So we have find happiness in the little things, which is so cute with those little ladybugs. And we also have I'm so happy I found you, which is so cute with the magnifying glass. We're going to be using our Copic markers to add some color to these fun images. You'll see here that in the center I have that light kind of neon-y YG01, and I ended up bringing in that YG03 to help me blend in between the 5 and the 1, and that really helped the blending. I really love that neon-y color towards the center, and you'll see that I'm kind of working back and forth between my different markers since it's such a big image, but that leaf is just so gorgeous. This stamp set is absolutely adorable and it works great on its own, but it's also a great companion to the A Bug Deal stamp set. And I love mixing and matching the leaves from both the set, those branches, and all of the different types of bugs. This cool little magnifying glass works great on its own, but it also works with reveal wheel, and we'll be showing you that in just a little bit. Here you can see on these ladybugs that I bring in that R39, that dark red, just around the outside edges of the ladybug, and I feel like it really gives it this beautiful dynamic look. Coming up here, we have the coordinating dies for this set, which you can bend apart at the tabs or use your wire snips to separate. You'll just take those coordinating dies and line them up with stamped images and hold them in place with some low tack tape, run it through your die cut machine, and we're going to have perfectly cut out images. And here you can see just how cute they are. That big leaf, like I said at the beginning, is one of my favorites. I'm going to be using it on all sorts of cards, not just bug cards. And here you can see how you can mix and match. You can put the little ladybugs on top of the leaf, or you can put a ladybug in the magnifying glass. And then here is that little circle die I was telling you about. This one is the one that's going to make that magnifying glass work with reveal wheel. So this is going to be working with your circle add-on. So we're going to cut out the center of that magnifying glass, and then we're going to take out our reveal wheel and pop in that circle window. And so once again, now we're giving this circle window a totally different look with this magnifying glass. So we'll take the magnifying glass and layer that right over the window, and you can see just how cool that is. And now you can create an interactive card with things moving through that magnifying glass. This magnifying glass is super cute, of course, with the bugs and the ladybugs, but it's really, really cute with the brand new reveal wheel circle sentiments too, because you can have a phrase going through the magnifying glass. So first up, we're going to be using the Hey Lady stamp set on its own without the A Bug Deal stamp set, and we're going to be creating a magic iris. So we've got some spiffy speckles here, and we're going to take out our main ring die and our cool little flux capacitor piece. Now, if you haven't checked out the intro to Magic Iris, make sure to check it out. We're going to link it in the description below, and it's going to go through the process of making one of these nice and slow so you can learn exactly how to do it. Here we're lining up our flux capacitor piece there in the center of that ring. We're going to hold it in place with low tack tape and run it through the die cut machine. And that's going to create little slots and also little brackets for guides on one of our rings. We're going to have 2 plain rings, and we're also going to cut the sausage piece 3 times. Now we're going to be working with the piece that we just die cut and those sausages. We're going to put those pieces into the slot and push them all the way to the outer edge of the ring. As you do that, you'll see that the inside edge of the sausage is going to perfectly line up with the inside edge of the ring. And we'll repeat that with the other 2 pieces. So we're going to insert them into the slot, push them all the way to the outside edge of the ring, and now those little curves are going to line up perfectly. The sausage die has created some little X marks the spots for us, and that's the place we're going to put our glue dots. And you're going to want to use the mini size of glue dot. That's the 3/16 of an inch size. So we're going to add a glue dot to each of these little X's. So that's going to be a total of 3 glue dots. And once we do that, we're going to take care here to make sure that our sausages are lining up really nice in the center. So you'll see we have that nice open ring in the center with all of our curves lining up. Once we have that in place, we're going to take one of the plain rings and we're going to line that right up, attaching the plain rings to those 3 glue dots that we just added. Now we can take that whole ring piece and flip it over, and we're going to work a little bit on the back of it. So you'll notice that we have those little brackets that were die cut at the beginning with that flux capacitor piece. We're going to be adding our stabilizers to that. So we've die cut 3 of those, and we're going to add some tape runner right where those brackets are, all the way from the inside edge of the ring to the outside edge of the ring on all 3 bracket pieces. Once we have our adhesive on all 3 of those, we're going to take our stabilizer pieces and line those up. You'll notice that there's a little curve at the end of the stabilizer. That curve is going to perfectly line up with the inside curve of our ring. And we're going to be lining up those stabilizers where we put our adhesive at those 3 bracket areas. Once our 3 stabilizers are on, we can take our ring and flip it over, and now we're going to do some work on the front side of it. And we're going to be die cutting our tab piece out of some cilantro cardstock. We're going to add adhesive to the back of our tab a little less than halfway down, and then to attach our tab, we're going to pick one of our stabilizers and point it towards ourselves, towards our body. We're going to pick that stabilizer with our left index finger, and we're going to put that tab directly to the right of it. We're going to line up the tab right with the edge of that stabilizer, creating a V shape, and then we're going to line up the curve of that tab with the inside curve of the ring. We're going to take one more plain ring out, and we're just going to lay that right on top, just like that. And then we can go and add adhesive to the top of our 3 stabilizers. Next, we're going to lightly hug around these stabilizer pieces. So they're going to hug around and attach to that top ring. And you'll see when we attach it, it doesn't go all the way to the inside edge of the ring. And that's good. That's how you know you've done it right and you haven't made it too tight. So we're just going to flip those over just like that and attach them to the outside of the ring. And we've now formed a functional magic iris. So the next thing to do is to test it out. We're going to pull that tab and you can see how it's already starting to move. To decorate the inside part of our magic iris, we're going to use that same ring, and we're going to die cut some cilantro cardstock, but using the center part of that ring, and that's going to give us this cool little stitched area that's going to be perfectly revealed as we open our magic iris. We're going to take that big, beautiful leaf from Hey Lady and attach that onto our green ring, and then we're going to take that cute little ladybug and attach that right onto the leaf. Then we're going to take these 2 pieces and we're going to put them aside for now and work on our card base. So this is a standard size card base at 5.5 by 4.25, and we're going to be adding some of that beautiful turquoise Dandy Day paper to it. We're also going to stamp our sentiment onto here. So it says, "Find happiness in the little things," and I love that little heart right in the center. And then we can pull back out our magic iris pieces. So the next thing we need to do is decorate the iris, and we're going to do that with the scalloped add-on. We're also going to be die cutting that from some Dandy Day paper, and you can see how pretty that stitched scallop circle is. We're going to add adhesive all the way on the top of that ring, and then we can attach that right on top, and you can see that it's decorating our magic iris and giving it this really cute scallop detail that I love on this bug-themed card. So we're going to take our magic iris, we're going to open it up, and that's going to be a guide as to where to put this little circle that's going to be our reveal behind our magic iris. We'll add adhesive to the back of that circle and then just pop that right in the center of that scalloped ring. And we can just push that right down onto the card, and it's going to be in perfect placement for us to now attach our magic iris. And to do that, we're going to take our magic iris and we're going to flip it over to the back. And we're going to add adhesive, but only on those 3 stabilizers that we added to the back. That way the adhesive isn't in the way of the movement of the die. Once we have that adhesive on there, we can go ahead and place it on our card. We're going to do it closed to make sure that the tab is in the correct placement when it's closed. Then we'll open it up so that we can perfectly line it up over that circle that we already attached. Once it's in perfect alignment, we can press it down and we can close it to make sure once again that that tab is in perfect placement, and I love it in that upper right hand corner just like that. Now to decorate our tab, we're going to use this little decorative arrow piece that's included in the die set, and we're going to add some adhesive to that and layer that right on top, and it's out of that same Dandy Day paper, and I love that that arrow is that nice dark cilantro color. Now here is that magnifying glass, and we're going to use that little circle die that's meant for the reveal wheel, but we're going to use it in a little bit of a different way this time. So we've die cut that circle, and now we have an open magnifying glass. Here's a magnetic sheet of all of my Scripty word dies, and I decided to pick out the word hugs because I think bug hugs just cracks me up. So we've got the word hugs here, and it's been die cut from some of the new shimmer cardstock in 2 different turquoise colors. And we're going to take these 2 die cuts and layer them just a little bit offset on each other so that it looks like this cool little shadow. And I love how it looks like it's glowing. It's just so cool looking. Now, right at this point, I thought it'd be kind of fun to give the magnifying glass an even more realistic look. So I'm going to take that same coordinating die and I'm going to die cut a piece of acetate with it. We're just going to trim off the handle, and that little circular piece of acetate will be a perfect fit for the back of the magnifying glass. We'll add some 1/8" double-sided tape to the back of that magnifying glass, and then we can layer on our piece of acetate, and it's going to be a perfect match because we use the same exact coordinating die, and it's going to give our magnifying glass kind of this cool, realistic look. Now it's time to be attaching all of these pieces we've been working on. So we're going to add some liquid glue with the glue tube to the back of our hugs and layer that onto our scalloped add-on that's decorating our magic iris. We're going to open up the magic iris and then line up that magnifying glass with the ladybug. We'll add some adhesive just to the very end of the handle, and then the rest of it's just going to float right over the magic iris, which is a really cool look and a really fun way to combine two different dyes together. We're going to add one little tiny ladybug there to show that the magnifying glass is magnifying that ladybug, and how cute is this? And this is a remake of a card by Jen, so thank you so much, Jen. And I just love how it opens and it's revealing the magnified ladybug in there. Now here, the one on the left is just a little bit of a different version. We used our big Scripty word stamp set and some of the leaves from a bug deal, so you can definitely mix and match your different sentiments and have a lot of fun with this really cute card idea. Just love the concept of taking something that was meant for the reveal wheel, like that magnifying glass, and then layering it over a different interactive die, like the magic iris, to get an even cooler, more dynamic look. Next up, we're going to be recreating a card by Tammy that combines a bug deal with Hey Lady, and we're going to be using the portrait foursquare backdrop. So we've gone ahead and die cut that from some white cardstock, and we've also trimmed down a piece to go behind it at 5.5 by 4.25. I'm creating some little guidelines for myself here, just a little pen mark there, right at where that middle stitched line is with all of those windows. And that's because we're going to create a gradient in both areas. So here at the top of the card, and then also kind of a dark to light that's going to happen at those little pen marks. We're using some tumbled glass distress oxide ink, and we're building it up at the top of the card and kind of having it lighter towards the bottom. Then we're going to be repeating the same concept at those little lines that we made earlier. And you can see I keep taking that foursquare backdrop die and layering it over top to make sure that it's looking good. I realized I needed to make it a little bit darker, a little bit higher, and then add a little bit more of the light blue towards the bottom. Now that everything's in perfect placement, we can smear a little bit of that same tumbled glass ink onto our craft mat. We're going to spray just a little bit of water on the side, and we're going to mix those together to create a little watercolor paint. We're going to pick up that watercolor paint with our paintbrush and tap the edge of the paintbrush to create splatters. This is going to add a little interest into our sky, making it look just a little bit more dynamic. So you'll see I just keep picking up a little bit more, mixing the water and the paint together, and just tapping that paintbrush to create all sorts of different sizes of splatters. To decorate our foursquare backdrop panel here, we're going to be taking out the brand new Oliver stitched ABCs. And we're going to die cut a bunch of letters out of some raspberry cardstock, and it's going to spell out love bug. And these little letters are just the cutest. I love the stitch detail and how cute it looks on the foursquare backdrop. So the first thing we're going to do here is kind of lay out our letters and see how they look, and then we can start to attach them on there. And instead of using the O, we're going to use the ladybug for the O, and I thought that was such a cute idea that Tammy did. So I decided to put the L and the G on first, and then we're kind of filling in the rest of the letters from there. We're going to stamp a little trail for our ladybug so that it looks like the ladybug just crawled right into the O position of the phrase love bug. Then we can attach our ladybug on there with some foam squares, and I think it's just the cutest look. Now we're going to alter our foursquare backdrop just a little bit. We want a bigger panel at the bottom, and it's nice and easy to do. All you need to do is just snip off that center piece. So we're going to snip it off at the bottom and then right there at that kind of middle point. And now we have one big area at the bottom and two smaller ones at top to decorate. We're going to add a bunch of foam squares to the back of this foursquare backdrop panel, and then we're going to layer that over that sky that we just created earlier, and you can see how pretty that's looking already. Now it's time to create some little vignettes or scenes in each of these panels. So in our one on the right there, we're going to stamp a ladybug trail and then layer our ladybug on with some foam squares. And then here on the left, we're going to be using that branch that's from a bug deal. So this is going to start to show you how easy it is to mix and match these two sets. So we're going to put our smaller leaves that are from a bug deal as well, and then that other ladybug that's in a bug deal. And I love mixing the front-facing ladybug with these kind of overshot head ladybugs that we have from Hey Lady. In our larger panel at the bottom, we're going to use that larger branch from a bug deal, which is one of my favorite images ever. And then we're going to start to decorate this guy. So we're going to add some of those smaller leaves on there and a front-facing ladybug and some smaller ladybugs too. And we're also going to take that cool little speech bubble that's in a bug deal and layer that on there so it looks like that little ladybug is talking. And the Hey Love Bug goes great with our love bug letters at the bottom. And then we're going to do something kind of cool with our magnifying glass. So right here, we're going to take the larger leaf that's in Hey Lady, and that's what's going to be going behind the magnifying glass because it's magnified. So it's a much bigger leaf than the smaller leaves that are in a bug deal. So we're going to add some tape runner to the back of that magnifying glass and then layer that over that big leaf. Once that's in perfect placement, we can go ahead and trim off any of the excess there. So we're just going to trim that off because we're going to be adding one of the smaller leaves kind of coming out from behind that bigger area, and it's going to give it this really cool look of magnification. Now that we've got that leaf trimmed off, we're going to take one of the bigger ladybugs, of course, so that he's nice and magnified, and layer that into the magnifying glass. Then we'll take that smaller leaf and we're going to layer that behind the magnifying glass. So once again, it looks like the small leaf is now jumbo in the magnifying glass. And I just really love this look. I think it's just so cute. And then to help finish off the scene, we're going to take another one of the tiny ladybugs to kind of help put this whole little ladybug to big ladybug idea in place. And we're going to layer that one just kind of crawling out right from behind that scene. Now to finish up our sentiment, we're going to be doing some white heat embossing on black cardstock. So we're using an anti-static powder tool and just adding a bunch of that powder to our cardstock so that our white heat embossing powder will only stick to that nice clear sticky embossing ink that we just stamped with. We'll add our white heat embossing powder on there, heat it up, and then we're going to trim this down. And I love the idea of bringing in this black cardstock to go along with our red letters because it really brings home this whole black and red idea of the ladybug. So we're just going to trim that little piece down, and then we can add some adhesive on the back of it and layer it right on there. It says, "Love Bug, I'm so happy I found you," which is so cute with the whole magnifying glass concept. Here we've created a standard size card base at 5.5 by 4.25. We'll add some adhesive to that and then we can layer on our entire panel. And now this card is all done. I had so much fun making it, creating little splatters and then creating the fun scene with that magnifying glass and mixing and matching two stamp sets. Next up, we're going to be using our Dandy Day 6x6 pad to create a reveal wheel. So we're going to take the square reveal wheel add-on and we're going to be dropping in that circle window that matches up perfectly with that magnifying glass. Once we have that perfectly placed into our puzzle piece in our reveal wheel square, we're going to line that up with that pattern paper and run that through the die cut machine. Next, we're going to stamp, color, and die cut a bunch of images from Hey Lady, and we're going to be layering these over that reveal wheel circle. So we're going to be doing something kind of cool here. So we're going to take our magnifying glass, and then we want to layer some leaves behind it. But of course, we don't want those leaves in the way of that circle where the reveal wheel action is going to happen. So we're going to find good placement for these leaves, and once they're in perfect placement, we're actually going to run it through with that same reveal wheel with that same circle add-on window added. So we're just going to line that right up with those leaves and then we can hold them in place with some low tack tape and then run that through the die cut machine. So that's going to run one of our leaves through. And now that leaf is going to have a circle that's going to perfectly match up with the circle of the reveal wheel. Then we'll go ahead and repeat the same idea with the other leaf. So we're going to line everything up again, and then that way we can line up our reveal wheel with the circle window in it again and die cut the other leaf. And this is going to be a really cool look because we're going to have 3 die cuts now with that circle cut out that are going to layer to create a really cool element as we spin our wheel in the reveal wheel. We'll add our 2 decorative leaves on there with some liquid glue from the glue tube, and then we're going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment. So we're going to be stamping out "Find happiness in the little things," which is such a cute sentiment, right at the bottom of the reveal wheel. And then we're going to die cut the big main wheel and the smaller wheel base out of some white cardstock. And to add some color to this wheel base, we're actually going to be using some distress ink, which is going to look really pretty behind those leaves. So we've got our twisted citron ink and a foam ink blending tool. We're going to be starting off the wheel and then on the wheel, just kind of building up that color, just using one color of ink, but you'll see how it just has this really dynamic, pretty look that's going to match really nicely with that Copic coloring that we did. Here we have the templates for the circle add-on for the reveal wheel. We're going to take a brad and we're going to put it up through the smaller wheel base, and then behind the wheel and up through that wheel and the template to hold the template in place as we start to add some of our characters. And we're going to be using characters from both Hey Lady and A Bug Deal to decorate these. So there's our cute A Bug Deal stamp set and our Hey Lady. And what's going to be really fun is we're going to have these bugs in lots of cute different placement. So we're going to take that worm and tuck him under the template a little bit so he's kind of hanging out upside down. He's going to look like he's kind of tucked under the reveal wheel. Same thing with our butterfly, just kind of have them coming out from the inside edge of those circles. I think it looks so cute. And then our ladybug's going to go right in the center since she's the star of the show. We're going to flip that over and add some foam squares onto that smaller wheel base around the brad, but not touching the brad. We'll also cut the base of our reveal wheel by cutting that square add-on without the circle window added. And then we can take our reveal wheel piece and we're going to be using that template as a guide as well as we look through this circle to line everything up perfectly. Once it's in perfect placement, we'll remove the liner paper on those little foam squares and then line it up with that base, and then we're going to press down, attaching the wheel to our reveal wheel base. Then we can open up those brads and remove that template so that we can use it on cards in the future, and then we can go ahead and just close that brad up. We're going to add some foam squares all around that wheel, but not touching the wheel so that it can move freely, and then we can take our piece with our window frame and layer that right on top. We'll layer our reveal wheel mechanism onto a square card base, and then we're going to take that awesome little magnifying glass that we cut earlier, add some liquid glue to that, and layer that right over that reveal wheel circle. Then we'll decorate the rest of the leaves with some of those tiny little ladybugs, so it looks like the big ladybug is really magnified on those leaves. And then we'll die cut the arrow from the reveal wheel and add it to the card so that the recipient knows to spin the wheel to see the cool action. So now as we spin that wheel, you can see the ladybug show up and then that cute little caterpillar hanging out from the top. The butterfly is going to be kind of coming out from the side of the magnifying glass, and then our cute grasshopper is jumping into the frame. So I love seeing all of those little bugs change. I love the idea of the ladybug being magnified from those other little tiny bugs on the leaves, and I love the leaf decoration behind the reveal wheel. It's so cute and so much fun. I just love this card. Next up, we have some absolutely gorgeous cards by the design team. And first up, Lynette has created the cutest card. I love the wood grain cardstock in the background and her cute little ladybugs all over these leaves. I just adore that card. And this card here by Audrey is so gorgeous. Look at that beautiful watercolor background. And those two cards were made only with Hey Lady, which is so cool. This one here is with the Magic Picture Changer by Grace, and as you pull the Magic Picture Changer, the ladybug gets bigger in the magnifying glass. I think it's so cool. She also added acetate behind her magnifying glass, which is such a cute look, and this once again is just using Hey Lady and then the Magic Picture Changer. Here, Jen combined Hey Lady with those awesome leaves and branches from A Bug Deal, and I love her magnifying ladybug right underneath that magnifying glass. And here, Shari created this really cool magic iris card, and she used the new ladybug add-on for our tiny gift box, which is a perfect complement to this stamp set, and we'll have a video on this card soon. Here, I love how Elise combined the Oliver stitched ABCs to create a really cute custom sentiment with Hey Lady. And this is the card by Tammy that inspired us to make our card today. And here I love how Megan combined How You Been with A Bug Deal and Hey Lady to create this really cool, awesome reveal wheel card where the sentiment changes and those cute little bugs are decorating all around. So I absolutely cannot wait to see what you guys create with Hey Lady, so make sure to share it with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!